yeah. It's your girl Creole. Let's go. It's your girl Creole. It's your boy Retro. It's your boy Retro. It's your boy. It's your boy Retro. Retro. It's your boy. Retro. Let's go. It's Creole. Let's go. It's Creole. Let's go. Your girl Creole. Let's go. Your girl Creole. Oh yeah. It's your girl Creole. Let's go. It's your girl Creole. It's your boy Retro. It's your boy Retro. But yeah.
What's up, y'all? This is your boy Retro.
And this is your girl Creole. And this is another episode of But Yeah.
Well, you guys, so let me tell you something. So we had a previous recording, but Creole and her friend felt that me and her husband went a little bit overboard. So it's about 2.5 hours long. I think it's real good.
That's some solid clips.
No, all of it is good. All of it is good. But Creole overanalyzed shit. So to make her happy.
Clearly it wasn't just me. Because Naj felt the same way.
Because y'all both y'all both Sagittarius. So I'm convinced.
And y'all are both Aries. Y'all was too much.
So I'm convinced that, y'all full of shit. But anyway, I have it. It's going to go in the vote. I'm probably going to leak it one day without her knowing. She'll be like, where does extra episode come from? And why does it have so many numbers? And why are people seeing hate messages to
and why are they talking about where they're canceling us?
Doesn't matter. No such thing as bad publicity. But anyway. So, today, we have another special guest. Because we're going to have to redo it another time with them whenever they got free time. That was like on a limb.
Hopefully there's like a lot less of me hitting you and a lot less of her pinching
I'm just not going to say shit anymore.
Don't be that way.
No, but see, that's the thing. You was complaining about me not being engaging. I was engaged. I guess I engaged too much. And then it's a problem. So.
Oh my God.
Anyway, today we have a special guest. One Creole's relatives, cousins, childhood cousins.
This is my favorite cousin. This is the cousin I'm closest to.
Oh, favorite cousin. He's black. In case y'all didn't know.
People think I have white cousins?
Well, you Creole vixen, so they know it's mixed, so they might think that's the white cousin or the black cousin. Because you got white people in your family. I don't
have white people in my family.
The white people that was at your mama's funeral.
They are light skinned.
They all look like insurance adjusters, okay? I'm like, man, who these people here? Like, your mama owe money or something? Like, who these people? She said, no, that's her cousin, that's family. I'm like, please.
Oh, anyway, my God.
But nah.
You let their dad tell it he was dark skinned.
Please. Creole showed me an old picture of her daddy mama. An old picture.
No.
Look like an Italian.
Not my daddy mama.
Your mama daddy?
My mom's great grandfather.
Yeah, and
on her mom's side.
And you showed me a picture of her daddy.
Oh, mom's dad.
Yeah, your mom's dad. Yeah, he look like a white Italian. Yeah. It's, hair slick and everything. But
Uncle Mark could get you.
He's a couple shades, not too far from him. Trust me. And shout out to Uncle Mark, you hear me? But look, we have. Would you like to go by your government name, sir, or your?
No, not at all.
Okay. No government name here. Spider.
Yes, sir.
Who also has a podcast.
It's 2 podcasts.
You got 2 of them now?
I have those podcasts.
Well, sir, could you please welcome to...
Oh, you remember what a hand clap is? Because I sure don't be remembering.
Appreciate it.
I just got to remember to add it to it when I do it.
Gotcha.
Sir, can you introduce yourself? Go ahead, man.
Yeah, what's going on? My name is Spider. Yes, I am Creole's cousin. I don't know why you had to quantify by calling me the childhood cousin, as if we were estranged and now I'm back into our life.
Some family members are like that.
Well, we're not. But yeah, Creole and I grew up basically like brother and sister almost, except we just didn't live in the same house.
So also my bandmate.
Yeah. Skadoosh. Radio Kool-Aid, shout out. number one band.
I don't know none of the shit they talk about. You guys, this is gonna be a one-sided podcast.
No, it's not.
They're gonna bring up shit that I don't even childhood shit. We're like, oh, okay, interesting.
Oh,
Sure.
well, you'll be able to at least react to it.
So, I react
some
to
of the crazy shit. But yeah, I have two podcasts. One for anyone who likes sort of a lifestyle type podcast where we just talk about things about our lives, our memories, things that we've experienced as children and as adults. It's called the Spider Bytes podcast, and that's Bytes, BYTES. You can find that on just about any major podcast streaming platform. But the newest podcast that I have called All Things Super.
All things okay.
All Things Super. It's on YouTube. It's on a few podcast streaming platforms. We basically take new movies, TV shows, even trailers, or react to some trailers, but basically just anything in the super genre. Not necessarily just superhero, but anything that's like above and beyond what normal humans are capable of. So action movies, action comedies, stuff like that. Some of the recent things that we did that were outside of the superhero realm. We did Day Shift, Jamie Foxx, Snoop Dogg on Netflix.
Yeah, we watched it.
We also did Bullet Train.
Because I used to, when I had time, when I was working overnight, I used to listen to
with Brad Pitt.
I still want to see that.
Yeah, we gotta see that.
Yeah. So if you want to hear some reviews about those type of movies, you can find us. Yeah, All Things
Spider Bytes. When I was doing my overnight. When did you start this one?
All Things Super started back in March, so we haven't been doing it too long. But we had a big push, at least on our YouTube platform, after San Diego Comic-Con happened and all the trailers got released and everything. A big push, got some engagement from that, doing some trailer reactions.
Well, that's what's up. That's what's up. See, I gotta get my. See, I have. Well, you know what? Get on your cousin ass about this because technically she's supposed to have another podcast of her own. And it's in the mix with Vix.
Yeah, and I recorded an episode and like the audio was garbage and unsavable. So
yeah, but you had time you could redo it. But she recorded.
He's stay getting me in trouble.
She recorded one episode and never even pushed it.
I did push it.
She barely pushed it and got a couple of downloads for it because unlike you know how your cousin is. That's all I gotta say. But yeah. If you could get on her ass about that so she could be doing that more, yeah, you need to do that. I'm going to check out the YouTube thing because, like I say, the Spider Bytes, I remember listening to, didn't you have somebody from across seas on there or they weren't from here?
Well, when we first started, we first started with Spider Bytes. We had 4 hosts, which was a bit of a daunting task getting 4 people audios,
right? Because
none of us were in the same place.
Right.
I'm here in Louisiana. We have another host, our co-host Ashley. She's in Michigan. We had another guy, Ethan. He was in Montana, and then we had Bean, who was in Mexico.
Yeah, I never heard Ethan. I always used to catch you, Bean,
and Ashley. Yeah, so Ethan was on the first few episodes with us. Ethan had gotten into a bad car accident a few months in to start the podcast. He's okay. I hear from him every now and then. But life changed, so he had to kind of take a step back from the podcast. But Ethan is actually the person who kind of inspired me to start podcasting because it was just he and I were having a conversation one day, and I remember posting on social media talking about how, have all of these thoughts, conversations that you want to have, and then you kind of feel like you can't really talk to anybody about it. Mm-hmm. And it's just stuff that you want to kind of get out. And so he approached me. He was like, hey, man, you still talking about wanting to do that podcast? And I'm like, yeah, but, I don't know who would be on it. I don't know how I would, go about doing it, all this other kind of stuff. And he was like, listen, if you're really serious about it, it's like, I'll do it with you. Yeah. And so we went and we actually held auditions. We posted on social media saying,
I had auditions?
Yeah, we had auditions. We had
they were taking it serious.
We're taking it real serious. We had some people send in some audio clips just like, what's your name? Where you're from? Tell me a little bit about yourself and why you're a good fit for being a podcast host. And so that's how we ended up meeting Bean and Ashley. But yeah, so Ethan had to drop out just due to some life stuff. And then Bean had to drop out due to some life stuff as well. And so now it's just me and Ashley, and every week, or at least almost every week, we just get together. Each of us bring up a topic and we just talk about it for, about an hour at a time.
Hey, there's no problem with that. I mean, it's still going.
Right.
Especially like you say, because everybody's different places and different lifestyle and stuff like that. It's like tricky getting schedules together. I mean, we're a freaking couple when it's like a bitch trying to get schedules lined up. Like, that's why like the podcast kind of fell off for a while. Cause it was like, I was here, he was there. We can't record. We ain't got enough time here.
Work schedule.
You know, it's just crazy. You know. Yeah, so I get trying to like get it, but it's like cool that y'all able to like still, even if it's just y'all two, to keep it going. So
Spider Bytes is 200 and I want to say 200 and like 16, 17 episodes in.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, so y'all in deep.
Coming up on the 17th of this month, we will have been podcasting for 4 years?
Cool.
5 years.
Damn.
Yeah, we started in 2017.
With 2 years. We're 2 years in, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're 2 years in.
Time goes by so fast.
That time flies by. It really
so
does.
fast because it feels like we just started.
Right.
It's like, it's already been 2 years. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, being that you've been doing it for going on 5 years, you're a vet compared to us. Is there any advice or anything that you learned over the years that you can kind of shed light on us, or, you know, just suggestions, or, you know, because are you able, that's the thing, like, are you able to see how many subscribers you have and all that, or? Depending on the platform, because we originally started hosting our podcast on Buzzsprout. That was one of the ones that I saw that offered those different type of analytics. The price point for it wasn't too high to host a podcast. Once I started a second one, I was trying to look for something because, you know, we're not necessarily doing it for the money, so we're not really generating any kind of revenue out of it. So look for something that offered. No, I'm not saying that I'm be opposed to earning money. Right, I'm just saying when you start now, you don't really earn much. Right. No. One of the things that, because I got asked this question a couple times before, is, and I'm pretty sure what you all are already doing, is be flexible. You know, you have a schedule, you can set forth that schedule, but if it's something, because we all work full-time jobs, we got other responsibilities that we got to do in life. So this is sort of a hobby type thing. Just, you know, if you can't make it a week, sometimes that week will just have to get skipped, because we have been trying to do weekly podcasts, but stuff will happen. Internet goes out, audio gets destroyed where you try to, you know, put out an episode. You record 2 hours and like start listening back to it. It's like, oh my God, the audio is just absolutely a disaster. Horrible. Yeah. And just for sometimes those episodes just don't come out. Put them in the vote, baby. Yep. Put them in the vote. But yeah, being flexible is probably one of the things that I recommend the most. And especially because we do all of our recording remotely. Like I said, Ashley's in Michigan. I'm in Louisiana. So we do everything online. So sometimes the systems that we use, they don't want to act right. You know, we try to record it. The recording doesn't want to act right. Again, audio gets messed up. So sometimes you're like, you know what, this one isn't going to happen this week. Let's try again for another day. We'll still try to get the episode out this week. Or, you know what, this week just doesn't work. We'll just try to get it out the next week and try to come back. Another thing that's very important, depending on how you want to grow your audience, is just that engagement. Just being able to reach out via social media, promote yourself as many places as you can. Stuff like this, guesting on other people's podcasts to try to cross an audience to see if you can garner attention from other people, other demographics and stuff like that. That's a good thing to build growth if you want to try to get more listeners. Because we used to have a big following in India, boy. They loved us in India. Bollywood, it was like they were leading over the U.S. numbers. Mm-hmm. We had big numbers in India. Right. And this is a funny thing, because you look at those analytics and everything, and so you're not necessarily getting a response from anybody. Like, they're not reaching out on social media or giving you any kind of feedback or anything like that. But the numbers are there. You can see that people are listening. Somebody's listening. And we would sit here and be like, hey, man, reach out to us. Right. Exactly. And we would shout out, hey, you in California. Yeah, because we have like a couple people from like places, because, you know, we kind of downplay some things. So we like, okay, we know somebody here, we know somebody there. When we see like what states. Right. We're like, okay, we know people in Arkansas. And okay, we know a person in Atlanta. Yeah. And okay, we know we know Google people in Texas. You know, and all stuff like that. So we able to like write it off. We're like, that's our family. Listen to us. You know. But like, there's like one from like Ashburn, Virginia. And there's like a person from, I think it's like Brooksdale or Brooks something, California, you know, and so like a couple places in California. And I know we have family in California, but they're all in LA. Right. But when I'm like looking this up, this is like Northern California. So I'm like, okay, I don't know how to do, you know. So I'm like, okay, so we actually have some like random people that like picked up on us, you know. But we be like, reach out to us on social media, let us know who you are, because we are
genuinely curious.
Yeah.
You know,
damn it, nobody has done it yet.
No responses from nobody.
We don't know nobody in Minnesota.
Nobody has responded yet, but we're gonna keep pushing.
Yeah, absolutely. You keep reaching out, and then at some point, because one of the videos for All Things Super that we got the most attention on was we did a trailer reaction to the Black Panther Wakanda Forever trailer when that came out during San Diego Comic-Con. And that same day that we released that video, we also released 7 other videos because they were all trailer reactions. So we we want to catch this wave. People are looking through YouTube for trailer reactions and stuff like that. So we want to just kind of push them all out. We staggered them throughout the day. And, even if it was because that was the last video that was posted that day, or if just because a bunch of people were looking at trailer reaction videos for the Black Panther Wakanda Forever trailer, however the YouTube algorithm pushed, the first couple of days that it came out, couple views, 10, 15 views or whatever. Since then, that video has populated, I want to say, close to 1,000 views.
Man,
so it just kind of, blew up. And because of that, we saw that we got more subscribers because of that, and normally when people do that, they find a video that they like, they see the content or hosts or the content creators that they're watching. They're like, okay, I can kind of vibe with these people. Let me go check out some of their other videos that they post.
That's what I do.
They go down a rabbit hole.
Right. They go down a rabbit hole of all the stuff that you've done. And of course, if they like it enough, they're like, okay, well, I'm going to subscribe to them because I want to see the next thing that they come out with. And so as long as you're pushing out content, like you said, there's no such thing as bad publicity. Right. So, you're putting stuff out there. Somebody's going to see it. At some point, somebody's going to like it. And then if you're lucky, get spread word of mouth, or they'll share it on social media and somebody else will see it. And then just, it keeps going.
DDRM.
Make me jump over this table.
I'll tell you later, bro. I ain't gonna go on.
Don't make me jump over this table.
I'm telling you later.
I hit you enough last week. Don't let me jump over this table.
Shout out to all my listeners.
The last piece of advice that I had to learn on my own was not to get discouraged. Because I remember when I started the Spider Bytes podcast, nobody was expecting instant success.
Yeah.
Because you are a drop in the proverbial ocean of podcasts.
Yeah, for real.
That's going on right now. And unless you already have some type of following, you have some type of stature, you have some type of gimmick where you have this already built-in audience before you start your podcast, you're not going to come in with, hundreds of listeners right off the bat. And so when I had started the Spider Bytes podcast and all right, we didn't put out 7 episodes. Nobody's listening. Yeah. I'm promoting on social media. I'm pushing it out because, I'm thinking because it was to the point to where I'm advertising this hey, I'm starting a podcast. We're looking for co-hosts and we got these responses back.
Yeah.
So at least me pushing it on the same platform was hey, here's the podcast.
Yeah.
So
you'd think that would turn into listeners.
Right.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always work out that way. So after a few episodes and not necessarily getting any type of listeners, any type of audience, no type of growth, I was like, do I still really want to do this?
Yeah. You put all this effort for nothing. Yeah.
And so when we were doing it, we were record on Sunday. I would edit it on Monday to push it out on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. So, and like I said, we're 4 people, 4 different tracks of audio, making sure everybody's volumes are all level, right. Just dead air, cutting that out. And this is in addition to me working a full-time job. And so also in the middle of football season too. So,
right.
But so, me putting in all this work, all this effort and not getting anything in return. And it just really gave me pause, do I really want to keep doing this? Is this something that I really want to pursue? And so I had to take a step back and had to think about it, what am I doing this for? Why did I want to start this podcast? And the thing about it it doesn't matter if I have an audience. What I wanted to do was, even if there's one person listening, even if there's one person, even if it's just my other co-hosts and the other ones that listen to the show, because I don't know because most of the time it's just the 2 of y'all, but you're having a conversation, but you're listening, but even though you're in a part of this conversation, if you were to listen back to the show afterwards, you're like, oh shit, I don't even remember talking about this. Like, I don't remember hearing this.
Well, yeah,
part.
a lot of times when I write because I'm the one that writes the bios, and so a lot of times, like when we finally, after we edit it and all this stuff like that, like I know some of like the main stuff we may have talked about because like sometimes we'll like be like, okay, this happened. We're gonna touch on these things. But then we'll go off on like tangents and things like that I forget about that are actually like really good to like tease about. But like I'll have to like re-listen to the podcast because like you said, I'll re-listen to the whole thing and go, oh yeah, we did talk about that. Yeah. And we did talk about that. Okay, well I can like tease that in there too. Yeah.
And it's just, those are the things that I live for. Those especially those tangents. Yeah. So like I said, with the Spider Bytes podcast, Ashley and I come up with a topic. So I'll have a question for her to answer. And then, of course, I give my answer. She has a question for me to answer. She'll give her answer. And then in between all of that, we just go off down a dirt road into an area that has nothing to do with anything that we were originally talking about. And those are the things that just being able to have those conversations and being able to listen back on it and just like, this is what I wanted to do. Because when I was younger, one of my dream jobs was to be a radio DJ.
Me too.
Like a nationally syndicated radio DJ, kind of like
me and you was going to school for like the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And so as technology progressed, you know, the nationally syndicated hosts, they started kind of pushing out your local hosts.
Yeah.
Right.
So
we was talking about that.
Yeah. So your morning DJs, your evening DJs.
There wasn't as many slots anymore.
Exactly. So you have your Steve Harveys, your Ryan Seacrest, your Tom Joyner. They take over
Ricky
the local.
But the thing is, they're all they're starting to retire and peter out. So now like, it's like, well, you didn't push out our local people.
Right.
Now what?
Exactly.
You know?
They need us.
You didn't force out our local people, but now you deciding you're going to retire. Now what do we have?
We have Brew. That's who we have now. Brew. He's on the top 40 stations. He's a nationally syndicated.
Really? Damn, I never.
Yeah. He's
that don't show how much I listen to the radio.
Exactly. Right. And then that's
another. But that's like I told you, oh boy, I don't, Mr. I'm delivered. And I don't like men's no more.
Right.
Like him and a chick from Basketball Wives that got an ankle monitor on her leg for like credit card fraud have a fucking morning radio show. And I'm like, this is what the fuck y'all putting on the radio?
Exactly. And so, and like you said, just to show you how much you listen to the radio, a lot of people don't listen to the radio anymore.
No.
So they don't hear the morning host.
Because they're tired of the music. They're tired of the same hosts everywhere.
Right.
Because especially in the morning, like you miss that local.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That's why I enjoy the morning and night. I miss those, you know, the local DJs because I can know what's going on in my area.
Exactly.
With the syndicated shit, I don't
care about celebrity gossip because that's all they talk about.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that's the only universal thing they could talk about. Right. They might bring up like some politics or like some news every once in a while, but because they got to try to be as general for like the 100 and some stations they report, they doing it for in 30 something, 40 something states, then you got to stick to just celebrity gossip because that's the only universal thing you can really do because you can't report on the traffic in a certain area and you can't sit up there and report on the local news or none of that stuff.
Yeah.
Never mind. Keep going because Korea won't hit me for that. Never mind. I'm sorry. I'm.
No, what were you about to say?
That's the fucking algae eater up in there? That fucking big?
Yeah. You haven't seen it in a while?
Jesus Christ.
You haven't seen it in a while?
That looked like a shark.
Yeah.
Weren't you here like a couple months ago?
I don't really look at the fish tank.
But the algae eater always be hiding. He's like antisocial most of the time. Like this is one of the rare.
The first one that I look for every time I go to the
fish tank. This is one of the rare times he's actually like up against the glass.
I'm sorry,
now.
There's a big ass shark in the fish tank. It used to be an algae eater.
It used to be tiny.
It used to be small. I remember when it was small. Nigga, you could cook that. He is huge.
Yeah.
But back to the topic. But like I said, that's what I miss. And when, like you said, I don't listen to the radio anymore.
Right. Exactly.
Because one, they're playing the same shit over and over. They're playing bullshit over and over. And like you said, there's no local host anymore.
Right.
I used to listen to 102.9, DJ Chicken and Big A, Posse Wine. Boy, I used to love listening to that. Growing up, I used to listen to 9 O'Clock Proper Zone. Tell me where you calling from. Come on now. Like,
I don't even know what Wild Wayne doing right now.
Wild Wayne is actually, he's doing like the earlier shift. So he does...
Like the afternoon shift?
Yeah, he does what A.D. Barry used to do.
Oh,
and
okay.
A.D. Barry's at 98 now.
Yeah.
But shit.
And Uptown Angela is the programming manager now.
Yeah.
So I don't think she's on the radio as much anymore.
Yeah.
If they'll bring locals back, local DJs back, and local shows back, radio will come back. But I ain't have to change this goddamn music that they play.
Yeah. Well, I don't think either one of those things are going to happen. But,
no.
But being that people don't listen to the radio anymore, and that's what kind of gravitated everybody towards podcasts. So
exactly.
Like, my dreams of being a radio DJ, I know that's not going to happen because it's just there. Like you said, there's not the slots anymore.
Yeah, there's no slots anymore. Yeah.
And so I felt that was a good way for me to, I'm not playing music. I didn't want to be a radio DJ to play music. I wanted to be a radio DJ to help, other people share their stories.
Right.
And so
interviews.
Interviews and stuff like that, which was, and not to get into my personal life too much, but I was a photojournalist. I was able to interview different people. And that was one of the best parts of the job, like being able to talk to people and get their story, just being able to have people be comfortable. Because one of the hardest things to do when you're interviewing somebody, especially with somebody who's not used to being interviewed, is making them feel comfortable enough to want to talk to you. Because
they will clam up and give you one-word answers.
The worst thing in the world is to interview somebody and only get one-word answers. And learning to ask open-ended questions is an art. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really tough not to ask anybody a yes no question, but also even sometimes you will ask somebody something, even if it's open answer, and they'll just you're like, can you elaborate?
Mm-hmm. It was wet.
Right.
It's like, you saw this helicopter crash, and what was your takes on the situation?
Wow.
Exactly.
Tragic.
Yeah. It's like, you're just sitting there with your pen and your pad and like, come on, man.
You got a list of questions and all you have is one-word answers.
Right. But just being able to do that, being able to talk to people, being able to learn about other people. Because one of the things that I enjoy the most is being able to hear somebody talk about something that they're passionate about. And you see that light in their eyes when they're just going into
excitement.
It. Yeah. And they just go on and on and on. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I was just talking too much. I'm like, no, I love that. Yeah. I enjoy that. I want to hear.
This gives me good sound bites and not robotic sound bites.
Exactly. Genuine responses from people is probably one of my favorite things in the world. But then that's what, that's why I didn't mind having, 4 hosts, because you get different perspectives, especially from 4 almost different corners
of the world,
of the continent. And so that's what kept me going. It was like, all right, so I had to reevaluate. I had to think about, exactly why I was doing it. I'm like, okay, so this is what I'm doing it for, and even because we've reduced from 4 hosts down to 2. It was probably about a month ago. Ashley and I had a little conversation after we were done recording for the day. And we were just talking about, it's just so funny that it's been this long and we still have these conversations and we can still talk for an hour and a half. Like if we don't cut ourselves off, we're just going to keep going. And I said the day that comes where we can't fill an episode, I said that's probably the day that we have to hang it up.
Yeah. Right. Or at least separate.
Right.
Find new
and just do something different. And what she told me, she said, as long as there's news in the media, as long as there's pop culture things happening, movies, TV shows, songs, new artists coming out, she said there'll always be conversation.
Yeah.
Always.
And
whether it be talking about the good shit that's coming out or if it's the trash shit coming out, there's always going to be conversation.
Exactly. And so that's what keeps me going. And so once you find that motivation to be able to realize why you're doing it, then I think as long as you hold on to that, then I think that discouragement won't settle in.
Creole trying to quit her job. That's why she's doing it.
And I ain't mad at that either.
That's why she be on my ass. That's why she be on my ass.
No, but
yeah, with the podcast.
Nah, but you said, I wanted to be a radio DJ too. I wanted to be a VJ.
Right.
Because I told you, I hate friggin' like E-News, Entertainment Tonight, and how they do interviews these days, because it's like all gossip and they never like touch on actual stuff with the people. Like if I did an interview with Entertainment Tonight about like something I had coming out, I'd be pissed after I like see my story, because they literally don't share any like actual stuff that came out the interview. Like I'm not about to waste 5 minutes doing an interview with you only for you to only share the one soundbite of me talking about like the one time I met J-Lo because they're getting married this weekend. You know, because I literally like watched one story and it was like, forgot what actress it was, and she had a movie coming out and she was friends with Ben Affleck, and they was like, yeah, she has a new movie coming out, blah, blah, blah. And we asked her how she felt about Ben and her best friend, Ben Affleck, getting engaged to Jennifer Lopez. I'm like, what they got to do with her movie coming out?
Not a damn thing.
You know, and it's like, that's all y'all gonna talk about? Is like y'all gonna tie everybody to like somebody else's news, you know? And like E-News ended up dying because they literally made everything about the Kardashians.
Right.
Like they just like do a whole block that was just like, oh, and Kylie was seen leaving a restaurant, and Khloe was seen with Tristan, and Courtney was seen doing this, and Kim tweeted this, and I'm like, who cares? Like, I want to know about the movie coming out and like, what was it like for this person to do their own stunts and this type of shit in interviews? Like, give it to me at length. Right. Give me at least like a minute package on the movie or something. I don't care. Do not give me like a whole, like from commercial to commercial, because if y'all don't know what a block is, from commercial to commercial of like just Kardashian news of literally like where we spotted one of the Kardashians or the Jenners. I don't care. Yeah. And that's, I'm pretty sure that's what killed E-News. They're like, well, nobody's watching it anymore. No one cares the shit about the Kardashians. Exactly. Just because they got a show on the network don't mean they got to be like all about them while y'all give like 25-second stories about like actual entertainment news. Right. Like, why would they waste their time like interviewing with y'all when y'all only going to use like a quick soundbite of like, oh yeah. You know?
What do you think about this dress that Kim wore? I don't
care. Like, I'm promoting a movie. I'm promoting music. Like, this is what I want to talk about. But even like before all of that, like I always wanted to tap into like a music artist's mind. Like, what inspired this song? Like, what were you going through at this time? Like, you know, they don't do that no more.
No.
And that's why I wanted to get into radio and being a VJ and all that stuff.
They want the gossip. They want the downfall.
Yeah, it's all about the gossip.
It's all about what's juicy. And now the thing about it is that the question that because now you have these quote unquote influencers, they're pulling them in to interview celebrities. Like they'll bring an influencer to a red carpet and...
No animal.
No. Well.
Sorry.
You're like a regular mixed drink or something.
Oh.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, you gotta ask. Like, we're all adults. We're over 21.
Because he was telling stories.
Yeah, I got you.
And so they like a bunch of people on TikTok, Instagram influencers, and all this other kind of stuff. They're bringing them to premieres and stuff like that. They're allowing them to.
They're letting them do like the red carpets at the Met Gala.
Yeah. And so now the thing about it is that because the MCU is sort of taking over everything. So that's the question that it seems like it's a prerequisite for everybody to ask. You know, they ask Keanu Reeves, they ask Jude Law, you know, anybody who's not currently in the MCU.
Yeah, do you plan on being in it?
Are you have any plans of being on the MCU? Oh, if you were in the MCU, who would you play?
Yeah, I'm about to say,
what would you do?
Well, technically Jude Law is, but...
Not Jude Law. Ewan McGregor.
Oh,
That's what I was thinking of. And so they asked him, it's like, oh, well, when do you plan on joining the MCU? He was like, well, I'm kind of already in this thing called Star Wars. So, you know, I feel like that's a big enough property where
it's like, I'm kind of a big deal.
Right.
In case you haven't noticed.
And it's like how
I'm in a bigger franchise now.
Exactly. How tone deaf do you have to be? It's like, oh, you're already a part of this huge you know, franchise. When are you going to join this other one?
Ewan McGregor has been.
Yes. He's been a part of Star Wars for good what?
Since like 2000, 2001?
Whenever the Phantom Menace came out. Yeah. It's been a minute. I don't know. But yeah, and it's just like, I sit here.
They don't know what to ask.
Exactly. So they revert back to all of these same old questions. And I'll sit here and I'll be seeing these interviews. And I'm just like, I have so many questions. I'm like, me personally, I wish that I could be a part of this interview process just because I understand you only have a limited amount of time for, you know, to ask them questions. But just even more so, you should be able to like, I want to ask this person something that they've never been asked before.
Yeah.
And then you get to those interviews where you see these celebrities get asked these questions and these celebrities, they light up. I can't remember what the movie was, but Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal were doing like a press tour together for whatever the movie was. And this one interviewer asked them questions about like a pair of socks or something like that. And I was like, you know, do you enjoy like walking around with like not having shoes?
I've seen that clip, and it's like one of the best because they are just so like, oh my god, yeah, they're like so excited,
exactly. And so I guess for whatever publication that reporter was, you know, interviewing for, they may not see that as, oh, this is good news because, you know, yeah, you can ask some questions about, okay, what was it like shooting the movie? You know, tell me about what it was like on set. You know, like you said, if you're doing your own stunts, what was that like? I know Simu Liu, who plays Shang-Chi, he like went into detail. Like one of the things, and I know he probably got tired of talking about it after a while, but he said that he didn't know martial arts going into before he got, you know, when he got cast as Shang-Chi, who is the master of martial arts. Right. And so like just going through his whole training process and everything that he had to do and then his progression into like what?
Yeah, we're turning into drink champs apparently because he's bringing the whole bottle.
Listen, the man is giving us choices, so
I have no problem with it, but it's just funny. Like we're full drink champs mode in here now. We got the bottles in the middle of the table. Everybody got their drink. We just missing the weed, but all of us got jobs before we get drug tested. So
right, exactly.
Some of us do.
But
I'm looking for a job. So.
But yeah, so just being able to see those interviews, and it's like, I appreciate what they do and being able to ask those questions because I have a million questions that I want to ask celebrities that I know I can't because I'm not in that sphere.
Yeah, and I want you to ask them for me. If I can't ask them, I want you to ask them for me.
Because I do all things super with my brother Frankie. And when he was asking me about like, what's your goal? Like, what do you hope to achieve with this podcast? And I said, I want to be the one to be able to go on red carpets. I want to go to premieres. Yeah. You know, not because I was like, oh, you know, I want to be in the spotlight. It's like, no, I want to be able to have the opportunity when the next MCU movie is coming out to be able to you know, talk to Brie Larson, you know, and ask her.
And I want to ask the questions that I know other people really want to hear.
Right. I'm not going to ask her, oh, who are you wearing? Ooh, who did your hair?
Care. I don't care. As much as I love fashion, I don't care.
Right. Exactly. And
at least not in that setting.
Yeah.
Met Gala, yes. Who are you wearing?
And that's
the Oscars and stuff.
Yeah.
Who are you wearing? Movie premieres, I don't care about who you wearing. The movie's finally here. What can we expect?
Right.
You know, how is it doing your own stunts? You know, what's next?
Right.
KC's what next? Tom Holland. I know you know. I know you can tell me.
They keep Tom locked in the dungeon.
That's why I sent you that meme from Kanto. There's like MCU marketing team.
Right.
Tom Holland, who just read the script.
So look, since we're talking about movies and everything, that's one of the main reasons why I wanted your ass here today.
Had me binge watching shows. Like, I had to catch up.
Oh, God.
Have you watched Miss Marvel?
Yes, I have.
Of course he is.
So, are they about to introduce?
I'm offended you even asked me that question.
Hey, I have to. It's just a podcast. So, with that being said,
yes,
are they about to introduce mutants? The word mutant, into the Marvel universe?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the first time in the MCU that they've been able to say the word mutants because of Disney's acquisition of 20th Century Fox, who had the rights to X-Men and Fantastic Four, Deadpool, all of those. So now that Disney owns them, we see all of these on Disney Plus now, they can say the word mutants. And the funny thing that I found out after all of this happened, I don't know if you remember the Inhumans show that was on ABC.
You know what? I started to watch that a little bit.
Don't worry about it. Nobody watched it. That's why it got canceled. It got canceled mid-season.
I'm not gonna lie. I watched the first. I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah. So the thing about it is, and the reason I bring up the Inhumans is because in comic lore, Miss Marvel was an Inhuman. She went to kind of like what they did with the show, and spoilers for anybody who didn't watch the show. She went to. It's
been out for a couple months.
Yeah, it's been out for a bit.
You do it to yourself.
But she went to sort of like a convention, kind of like she did in the show.
Yeah.
It was called A-Day. It was a thing to celebrate the Avengers. And there was this accident with this stuff called the Terrigen Mist, which basically you inhale it, it messes with your body physiology and it turns you into an Inhuman. The reason that Marvel created the Inhumans is because they didn't have the rights to the X-Men at that time. Gotcha. So this was sort of the answer to them being able to create a property so they could create the TV shows, the movies,
right,
to rival
without
the X-Men.
your ass.
Right, because 20th Century Fox had X-Men. They were doing, the whole thing with Wolverine, all the other kind of stuff. So Marvel was like, okay, well, we need some kind of substitute where they're mutants or they're mutated people, but they're not mutants.
Right.
And so that's when they came out with the Inhumans. So now that they have the rights back to all of the X-Men, all of the mutants and the properties and everything.
Thank God.
So now they can introduce mutants into the MCU. So this is sort of just like they're opening that door.
Because am I crazy? I keep telling Retro, am I crazy? They did refer to Wanda as a mutant in...
Yeah,
did they not?
No.
In Doctor Strange?
Nope. She was not a mutant. She was an enhanced individual.
Yep.
No, but when they had the Illuminati, I could have swore they called her a mutant.
No, they didn't.
No, not in the Multiverse of Madness?
Yeah.
No,
not even with Professor X being in there, they didn't refer to her as a mutant.
I don't think they referred to Wanda as a mutant because for them to refer to Wanda as a mutant, then they would have to go back because what they did is they didn't necessarily say. Because remember in WandaVision how Agatha told her that she already had powers before they Hydra tested, experimented her.
Yeah, it was already in her. Yeah.
But they never outright said that she was a mutant.
Gotcha. I don't know why I thought I heard them actually call her mutant.
It was
maybe I assumed because Professor X was there.
In WandaVision, they was tiptoeing around.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And now I'll ask you this: when you saw Doctor Strange, the Universal Multiverse of Madness. When you saw it. And when you saw Professor X came out, like the comic book version of Professor X.
Not the comic book version. The X-Men 96 version.
I'm sorry. The cartoon version.
Yeah, the cartoon version.
When you saw that shit, did the kid in you just giggle? This was like,
hell yeah. Because not only did he come out in his signature wheelchair, his signature suit, but they also, if you listen to the music, that was the theme music from the 96 show. And that's what got me. Because, of course, I try as much as as much as within my power, I try to avoid spoilers. I try to avoid, things that are leaks and everything because they flow out. People will go on social media because there's a fine line between theories and actual spoilers.
Yeah. Right.
And they like to dance all over that line. People love to do that on social media.
Because I thought I saw I saw that trailer or I saw a clip of it, and sometimes, because me and Creel, whenever shit drops, we'll send it to one another.
Yeah.
And sometimes it'll be something that's made.
Fan-made trailers.
So when I saw it, I couldn't find it. I said, well, maybe it was fan-made. But when I saw that shit, I said, what the fucking word?
Yeah, and so because they released a trailer where you see Professor X kind of roll up, you kind of look over his shoulder and you hear his voice is like, why don't we tell him the truth? And you heard that. I was like, and the internet went crazy, like, is that Patrick Stewart?
Yeah.
Is that Patrick Stewart? No, that can't be Patrick Stewart. That got to be like somebody that. And then the thing about it is that these fucking actors lie because Patrick Stewart.
Lie so much.
Patrick Stewart was asked, and they were like, "Are you in Multiverse of Madness?" He said, whatever reasoning he gave, but of course he didn't just outright say that he was in it or not. And so I wish that they didn't put that in the trailer because that would have just been a great, like all of the other Illuminati members, like seeing John Krasinski as Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic was excellent because the internet has been pushing for him to be Mr. Fantastic.
And I think he's going to be a good one.
I don't know if he's going to be in it though.
Why? Because of this?
Well, no, not because of this. But
it was a multiverse type thing.
Yeah, and so people are reporting that they don't believe that John Krasinski. They think that it's going to be somebody else. There's rumors. I don't know if you guys watched You on Netflix, but the guy that plays Joe on You, there's some rumors that he's going to be.
No.
Like I said,
I love him. God, I love him. But no,
man. No. Oh boy, he was.
No, I think John Krasinski would be the better fit. I
agree,
but no, I don't think. No. I can't think his name, but no, I can't. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, but so like
creepy. I'm just sorry. I mean, he plays Joe too. You know how some actors play their part too well.
They play like psychotic too well.
Yeah. But I've like seen interviews with him, like going back to like good interviews, where he like talks about like he's like. Sometimes, like, I don't even think I'm trying to be creepy, which worries me. Because he said, like, they were taking, like, the promotional pictures for the movie.
Yeah.
And it was just, like, the picture was just, like, old girl laying in the bed and him just, like, standing next to the bed. And he just, like, stood there. And everybody else said, whoa. He was like... haven't done anything yet.
You're just creepy.
He was like, it worries me like how creepy people think I am apparently. Yeah. But like he looks like a totally different dude when he like grows his beard and grows his hair longer. Like, and he's like, he's not that creepy looking in real life because he's normally like bearded and stuff. But like he plays Joe it creepy. So well on the show. I don't see him.
I don't see him that motherfucker in the street. I'm yelling, Joe.
I don't see him as Reed though.
Where's love? But yeah, fuck that. Nah.
But yeah, it's just stuff like that. Like John Krasinski was kept under wraps, and Captain Marvel, the variant of Captain Marvel, with I can't think of the actress's name.
I can't think of the actress's name, but the one that played the friend.
Yeah, the one that played Maria Rambeau. She came back as Captain Marvel. That was kept under wraps.
And then your girl Peggy Carter.
Yeah, but people were already. Because, of course, people do frame-by-frame breakdowns of trailers and they try to analyze everything. And so when the trailer came out and they saw that there was a sort of powered individual kind of flying through the air fighting Wanda, some people thought it was what they call a superior Iron Man. And so they thought that was going to be Tom Cruise because Tom Cruise had been rumored
He said he wanted to be Iron Man.
Yeah.
Like he was originally considered to be Iron Man. But it was like I remember them saying that he was like, he would have played too much into the asshole part of Tony Stark, but he wouldn't have been a lovable asshole.
I'm sorry. And Robert Downey Jr., he would always be Iron Man. Okay?
Because Tony Stark is Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark.
I don't care what.
Like any interview you've seen of Robert Downey Jr., he is Tony Stark.
Pretty much.
All day, every day.
Even when he's doing interviews for different movies. Yeah, that's Tony.
Yeah. He was on Jimmy Kimmel and they had asked if like anybody had took anything from the show. And he was like, I told them I want the A from the Avengers headquarters. I have it.
Right.
I have it. So like he said exactly like that. It was like, you really have it? I have it. It's just something Tony would do. Like, I want the A from the Avengers headquarters.
Right.
You know how big that is? I don't care. I want it.
I'm Tony Stark. It's my headquarters. I created it.
Just like Tom Holland is Spider-Man all the time. He's Peter Parker all the time.
He's always going to be Peter Parker.
It was so hard. Wait, what did you just say?
I say fuck Spider-Man because I am so mad.
He's mad at the end of
No Way Home?
No Way Home, yeah.
Why are you mad at the end of No Way Home?
Because it's bullshit. Okay? The man lost enough already.
That's Spider-Man's story. Okay, Spider-Man's story is one of loss and tragedy.
Fuck that shit.
If it's anybody who knows Spider-Man, it's this one.
Fuck that shit, man. He lost Aunt May. Then he had to sit here and everybody had to not know who the fuck he was.
So here's the thing. And I tell this to everybody who says that, you know, life is over for Peter Parker. It's not over for Peter Parker.
No, it's not over.
What it is that no one knows who Peter Parker is. That's not to say that he can't reintroduce himself to people. And so, he has to go back to square one.
I feel for that man. Like, that's fucking hurt. To sit here, this is a girl who you fucking love that you fought, did all kind, and then bitch, you blipped away, you blipped your ass back. Like, you've been through a lot, Peter Parker, and now you gotta sit here and start back from square fucking one. I'm fucking Spider-Man. I am Spider fucking Man, and this is the fuck I get.
That's his life.
That's the life of a superhero. Sadly, that's the life of a superhero.
I ain't gonna lie, it was a fire ass movie. I was so. Oh man, when I saw all of them together, that shit just made me so excited.
That was another moment that when when Andrew Garfield first stepped out of that portal.
Yes.
And just that scene between him and Zendaya. She's throwing him bread. She's like, I want to see if you have the tingle thing. I have the tingle thing, just not for bread.
What you could do? And then the grandma come up in there.
No, the fact that funny is just the lightest.
She was like,
no, but him jumping up, he was like, well, what can you do?
It's
just the lightest little hand.
And she's like, what does that prove? He was like, this proves I'm Peter Parker. No, it doesn't. Like, well, what else do you want me to do? Crawl around. I'm like, no, I'm not going to crawl around.
And then they had the grandma come there and
like,
came dust.
Why you up there? Can you get the spider webs out of the corner? He's just like, fine. You can't say no to the grandma.
Nah, you couldn't.
And then Tobey Maguire comes and it's just
looking like a youth. Like, do you have your suit or you just always walk around looking like a youth pastor? But yeah, just that entire interaction between the three of them. Comparing, talking about the web shooter.
Yeah, the fact that Toby, it actually comes out of him. Yeah, it comes out of him. They had to make their own.
But the look that Andrew Garfield had on his face, like he was disgusted, but still at the same time intrigued. Absolutely, that was probably the best. Like,
and just a lot of the parallels that they did from all the previous movies.
I love when your brother like, yeah. So I was part of this team called the Avengers. Great,
that's great.
That's great.
What is that? Is that a band or you're part of a band?
Y'all don't have Avengers? No.
And then Tony was like, what does this have to do with anything?
But yes, I love, man. Now, okay, since we're talking about movies and shit.
And it was saying Andrew Garfield like ad-libbed, I love you guys. Like before they jumped, like before they like ran, he was like, just one more thing. I love you guys. They were like, he was like, I ad-libbed that. Like, he's like, I just had to say it because I just loved every minute of it.
And that's why we're like, thank you.
And he was saying like literally the very first time they all met each other and saw each other in the suits, they made them do the meme.
Of course.
That was the very first time, and it's like we were giggling the entire time because we were just trying not to look at each other's junk. What
mean?
The three Spider-Men like pointing at each other.
I would have to see that.
It was.
Oh
God!
I don't be on Instagram like that. You know that.
I feel like you would have had to have seen it at some point. But it was basically an image taken from the 1960s Spider-Man cartoon where Spider-Man is basically facing another Spider-Man, and they're both pointing at each other like, you know, you're Spider-Man, I'm Spider-Man, but you're Spider-Man. And so they recreated the meme for the three Spider-Mans from the movies. So it was Tom Spider-Man, Andrew Spider-Man, and Tobey Spider-Man. And so they're all pointing at each other. And so I think they did it a couple of different times. They did it once while they were in the suit and then once while they were outside of the suit.
Did you send him the shit you sent me?
No.
You gotta send that shit to him.
No, it's like a guy. He's dressed as like white Spider. It's a black guy, but he's like supposed to be white Spider-Man and black Spider-Man. And it's supposed to be like alternate universes. It's like, so you don't know Iron Man? You mean the Tungsten Gentleman? Well, what about the Guardians of the Galaxy? You mean the supervisors of the solar system?
I have seen that. The black guy like kind of dreads a little bit. Yeah, I've seen that video.
You got Ant-Man? Who got Termite Man? No, the White Puma killed me.
We got the Black Panther? No, we got the White Puma. No,
you have Captain America. We have Lieutenant Germany.
No, there's a YouTuber. His name is Stephen He. And he has like a whole bunch of these different movies where he acts like a stereotypical Asian parent. And so it's an Asian guy. So I don't want
no.
I don't want to like get the if it's any group that does stereotypical parents, it's Asians. Like they will imitate the mess out of their parents. Right. But yeah, so he has like a whole series where he's just like a guy, he goes into like a convenience store. He's like, and I'm not going to do the accent because I'm not trying to get canceled. He's like, I want to get a Mountain Dew. He's like, oh yeah, Mountain Dew. Yeah, we have it on that. Oh, and then it's like, he just turns it to, and it's like, cause you know, like in some Asian countries, they'll have like knockoff products. Yeah. So say like, don't, or something like that. You know, and he'll show a picture of that. He's like, Mountain, don't. And it was like, you know.
It's good.
He's like, oh, well, he's like, okay, well, I want to go to Subway. He was like, oh, well, we have railroad station. You know. It's like, and so he had like a whole series of videos like that.
You got to send me that. Ridiculous. I'm going to check that out. But man, since we're talking about the movies and shit, Forever Wakanda. This is the most.
You messed that up. Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda Forever. Look, man. Leave me the fuck alone.
How many sips you had of that?
I'm tired. Man. So look, there's a lot of heat out here about this fucking movie.
Oh, of course. A lot of heat about everything.
But I mean, there was a point where, everybody's like, man, they shouldn't do it. They, some people say they should recast T'Challa.
Right.
Well, before we even get into that one, I'm going back to Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they're going to introduce a live action Black Spider-Man?
A live action Black Spider-Man.
What you mean, like Miles
Morales?
Yeah.
Yeah, at some point they're going to introduce whatever, because here's the rumor mill. The rumor mill is that even though that the Amazing Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man got so much flack when it came out. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was considered to be a flop, but there are still people that enjoy it. I enjoyed
it too.
I feel like
I was waiting for a third one.
Right, and there was supposed to be a third one, but because 2 didn't do as well, there was never a third one. Now, with the positive reception that Andrew's gotten because of his appearance in No Way Home, 1, they're planning on introducing or bringing both Andrew and Tobey back into future Spider-Man properties. But there's also rumors going around that there's going to be an Amazing Spider-Man 3. And so the story of Miles Morales is that in the Ultimate Universe, Peter Parker is fighting the Green Goblin. Green Goblin is not the Green Goblin that we've seen in the movies. He's like this big, menacing, like he's Hulk transformed.
Yeah.
But so after Peter Parker sustained some injuries and trying to protect the Avengers, Peter Parker got shot. And so even after he got shot, he's gone off and fought the Green Goblin. Green Goblin ends up killing him. But this is after that Miles already has found out that he's gotten Spider-Man powers. So now he's trying to fill the void that Spider-Man left.
Gotcha.
And so I don't know if they're going to adapt that same storyline into that movie, but the rumors are that Andrew's next movie is going to introduce Miles Morales. Now, will they maybe get to play Miles Morales? I don't know.
Because wasn't that a rumor, or at least like confirmed, that Donald Glover's character in the first Spider-Man was the uncle?
Yeah, he played
was
Aaron
Miles'
Davis.
uncle. Yeah.
So
he would be the Prowler. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm all game for that too. That would make sense.
Yeah. And Donald Glover was actually, once Miles Morales was introduced, he wanted to play Miles Morales. But, Miles is like 14.
Well, yeah, he wanted to be Miles Morales in his younger days.
Yeah.
Like in his Community days,
right,
when he still looked like young.
Yeah.
Now he's very much looks older and
Miles
stuff.
Uncle boy.
But he actually, in the, not spectacular, in the Ultimate Spider-Man series, I believe, he did provide the voice for Miles Morales in the animated show. Right. So he at least got to do that.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. But back to the Black Panther.
Okay.
I want to know what your take on the trailer. What you think?
Because obviously you have the reaction videos, but like here.
Do you think Marvel know what they're doing in going forward with that franchise?
100%. I have no doubts, because everybody's looking at each Marvel Cinematic Universe property in its own little microcosm of this is this property. Oh, I don't see how this is affecting the MCU as a whole. I don't see how Moon Knight is playing into the whole MCU. I don't know how Miss Marvel.
I already know they're going to find a way to bring that in.
Exactly. And people they always constantly question, this doesn't seem connected. That's what there are a lot of.
You must not be a real Marvel fan if you don't think anything's connected in some way.
Just because we don't have these big cameos, because until the last episode, again, spoilers for Miss Marvel, if they're not until the last episode of Miss Marvel, we saw Kamala Khan switch places with Carol Danvers.
Right.
And so it's like, there's your tie-in. It's like, it's not a huge explanation as to the tie-in. This is not something.
But we'll find out when the Marvels come out.
When the Marvels comes out, that is going to bring us together. And so for anybody who thinks that Kevin Feige and the rest of the Marvel Studios team, Joe Quesada, Victoria Alonso, all these other people, that they don't have a plan for what's going on, they had a plan. Even, I don't know if y'all watched She-Hulk yet.
Yeah.
Okay. So even the first episode.
We prepared for this episode with you.
So the first episode of She-Hulk, one of the driving conversations is Jennifer Walters is asking Bruce Banner, did Captain America die a virgin? That was like the biggest thing on her mind.
And it doesn't get solved until an in-credit scene.
Right, exactly. But the director and the writers actually went in an interview and said that Kevin Feige he knows who the woman was. Because we see in the show that Bruce said, well, in the post-credit scene that Bruce said, Steve Rogers lost his virginity on a USO tour, and in
1942, yeah.
And so Kevin Feige knows who that
exactly
is.
who that is.
Exactly.
And probably in the future, we're going to be like, he has a child. Like, he has a love child.
Possibly. But it's just those little, details that people don't think about. I would say most people don't think about, because you have a lot of diehard Marvel fans. They wonder these things,
Right.
Did Steve Rogers die a virgin? Does, Bucky Barnes ever going to be, the new Captain America? Just all of these different hypothetical questions, which I think is what drove them creating What If, because they wanted to say, well, what if Ultron did get, Vision and get all the Infinity Stones? Mm-hmm. What if T'Challa was abducted by the Ravagers instead of Stephen Quill? Just all of these different hypothetical. What if Peggy became Captain America instead of Steve Rogers?
Yeah.
And so they have all of this stuff mapped out. So for anyone to say that they don't have a plan, now it's understandable that the untimely passing of Chadwick Boseman that kind of
threw a wrench in things.
Threw a wrench in things, and you had to reevaluate. But Ryan Coogler and his whole writing team and everybody at Marvel, that they all work together and say, okay, well, this is what happened in the story. This is what happened in the comics. So we can adapt at least some part of the comics to reflect, who the new Black Panther is going to be, because I don't believe that they're going to recast T'Challa.
No.
Because and it's so funny. It's so funny how quick the internet turns, because after Chadwick died, the first thing that people, well, not the first thing, but one of the primary things that was on people's minds was what's going to happen with the new Black Panther movie.
Right.
And so everybody was saying, don't recast T'Challa. Don't recast him, because nobody else can be T'Challa beside Chadwick Boseman.
Facts.
And now that the movie is getting closer to coming out,
now all of a sudden they want it recast.
They want to recast him because some people are saying, we don't want to see Shuri as the Black Panther. We don't want to see Nakia as the Black Panther. Well,
and I heard a lot of Black people bullshit of they're trying to kill our kings. I'm like, y'all do know he died in real life, right?
Right.
This is not like he got in trouble with the law and it kicked him out of the series. Right. This man died in real life. This is not we replaced him. Because I definitely saw they're trying to kill off our kings and And I'm like, y'all literally was don't recast him. Because that was Chad Boseman's role to have, and that was him.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all initially was don't recast him. Now that the trailer come out, now all of a sudden y'all we need to recast T'Challa because they're trying to get rid of our kings, and this is part of a bigger conspiracy to get rid of. Shut up, But it's all kind of stupid reasons that all of a sudden, now that the trailer's out, now all of a sudden they want to recast T'Challa. But like I said, I trust. Marvel has always had a long game.
Yeah.
Marvel has always had a long game. Because even from the first Iron Man, they had a long game to get to Avengers. They had a long game to get to Endgame, and they have a long game to get through Phase 4 and 5 and 6. Yep. They have a long game of how it all will tie together somehow. From
the very first MCU movie, Iron Man, there was a post-credit scene. Nick Fury came in. He was like, I want to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative. So from then forward, they had a plan in place.
They had a plan already to introduce the Avengers.
Right.
So, all praise to the lords over there at Marvel. I'm going to switch up on your ass.
Uh-oh.
DC.
I don't even want to talk about it.
DC. What the fuck? Now, have you seen the new Batman?
Yes.
What's your thoughts on the new Batman?
It's Batman.
Like how many times are we gonna recreate Batman? I'm just thankful that we didn't have to see Martha die over her pearls again.
Yeah, I'm tired of seeing the pearls falling.
Nah, what I like about
literally the exact thing they do every time she gets killed.
It's like the thing with Uncle Ben. I'm tired of seeing Uncle Ben die. We know Uncle Ben died. Right. Uncle Ben is going to stay dead. Right. There are two things that is always going to be cemented in superhero lore. Superman is always going to be weak to kryptonite. Uncle Ben is going to stay dead. If anybody else can come back from the dead at any point in time except Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben will never come back. Once
Uncle
he
Ben
dies,
will never come back. Martha Wayne will never come back.
Yep.
So what I liked about the new Batman was how they showed that, the Waynes weren't just squeaky clean. Right.
Family. They weren't these philanthropic. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. These benevolent people, and
they were in a dirty city, so they weren't squeaky clean. Right. Because they always did try to make the Waynes like they were the one squeaky clean family out of all of this dirt and grime. No.
And they actually introduced that storyline in the Batman video game, the Telltale series. They introduced this whole thing. It was a lot more involved with Oswald Cobblepot playing the Penguin. He was a lot more involved because in the game, he and Bruce grew up as childhood friends. But there have been different iterations between video games, comic books, TV shows, animated movies and stuff like that about the Wayne legacy. And yeah, it's more plausible that these people, these wealthy people, because absolute power corrupts absolutely. And you're the 1%, you're at the top of the top. And how are you going to stay there? You can't just stay there by doing good deeds. No. It's an implausible thing. It's not realistic.
It's going to come to a point.
Right. It's going to come to a point to where if you want to stay at the top, you have to do some dealings with the seedy underbelly of Gotham. So, and yeah, it's a nice take on the Batman story. Robert Pattinson as Bruce Wayne, I feel like he didn't really do anything as Bruce Wayne. And I feel like the best Batman gives you the dichotomy of being a good Bruce Wayne and a good Batman. It's the same thing with Spider-Man. And it's always going to come back to Spider-Man. Being a good Peter Parker and being a good Spider-Man. That's the thing. Mm-hmm. Tobey Maguire, great Peter Parker, horrible Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield, he was okay Peter Parker, great Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. Tom Holland, you got the best of both worlds because Peter Parker has to be nerdy, just awkward, all this other kind of stuff. Spider-Man has to be quippy, and it's basically like two different people.
It's a true alter ego type deal.
And Tobey Maguire didn't have the quips of Spider-Man, and Andrew Garfield honestly was just too hot to be Peter Parker.
He was, and that was the only thing. He was too good looking to be Peter Parker.
Too good looking to be Peter Parker.
And he wasn't awkward. He actually was like, it made it weird that he was bullied because he actually came off as pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It seemed too smooth.
He was smart. He wasn't a nerd. He was a smart, good looking guy.
Right. And then you see, even though and I know we're going to get back to Batman, but even in Homecoming, we didn't see Peter getting bullied or anything. Well, we see Flash making fun of him, calling him Penis Parker and all this other kind of stuff. But you saw that it was just him and Ned. He didn't hang out with anybody else. No. He didn't. They did
their nerd thing. They were simply building the Lego Death Star.
He was pining after. I can't think of her name.
I can't think of her name, but it wasn't MJ at the time.
Right, it wasn't MJ at the time. Liz.
Yeah.
So he was pining after Liz, but of course, until we get that scene where they ask each other out to the dance. We don't see that Liz is even interested in him.
Yeah.
In Amazing Spider-Man, we see that Gwen. She knows who Peter is, and she's actually reaches out to Peter after Peter gets punched in the face. She was like, what's your name? He was like, you don't know my name? I've been sitting behind you. I know your name. I just want to know if you know your name. And so it's like she reached out to him. And in the comics, that's not something that, I can't say in the comics, because in the comics, Peter Parker was actually like a ladies' man. He had a whole bunch of different girlfriends in the comics.
Peter was a hoe.
But just being able to have those different parts of the character. So you have your Bruce Wayne, you have your Batman. I appreciate it because Batman is supposed to be the world's greatest detective. Batman is supposed to have all this knowledge, he's supposed to be extremely intelligent, being able to view crime scenes in a different way. And I feel like the Batman really encapsulated that. They really, and even though it was like real cheesy and kind of on the nose for a lot of different areas, but it did show that he was very methodical in the things that he looked at and kind of how he pervade like entire areas to put these clues together. And having the Riddler be sort of a Zodiac killer type of villain rather than just somebody, oh, what's he's black crazy, and white and red all over, leaving stupid riddles around and actually putting like cryptographic puzzles and stuff like that. I felt like it gave a lot of real world like groundness and in that sense.
Yeah, I felt like that Batman was the most realistic.
Because it wasn't just about the fighting and the punching and the actual Batman side of him. Like it was about the, like you say, Bruce Wayne, the detective, you know, as opposed to just like, oh, like you said, the Riddler wasn't just like, just leaving these stupid little notes in these little cards.
You never catch me, Batman.
Yeah.
Do you think that DC can ever get their shit together to be on a Marvel's level?
On Marvel's level, no. Yeah,
is it because the characters are half of the comics?
No, it's not even anything about the characters because you can take lesser known DC characters and still create a great movie. You can take the Suicide Squad as an example, and it's a great example because you look at Suicide Squad.
Huh? Milton. That's my favorite fucking part.
Like, I think I would have known this when you were working with somebody named Milton.
Milton's dead. Who's Milton?
He's been with us the whole time.
I think I know the guy named Milton.
Right.
Bro, that shit killed me.
But the thing about it is you take Suicide Squad with Will Smith and how absolutely horrible that movie was. And then you take the Suicide Squad with even lesser known villains as part of Task Force X and how much of a better movie it was, and it's not about the characters. It's about the people, like
writing,
what you do with them. The writing, the directing, the type of environment that you put them in.
They struggle with consistency. Consistency and all this stuff like that. Whereas Marvel is clearly a long-term collaborative effort.
Right.
Jon Favreau, Feige, all of them. It's a collaborative effort. It's almost like they all go like, okay, I saw what you did with this movie. I'm going to make sure, certain things reflect in my movie, even though you're not directing this. But when your character from your movie come in here, I'm going to make sure I stay true to it. Right. But you had Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman did amazing.
Then Wonder Woman 84 came out.
Yeah. But even before that, you completely changed. Because you had a different director for Justice League, you completely changed how the Amazons look, how they function.
Right.
And all this stuff like that. It's like how we went from the Amazonians being these warriors that were completely covered and all this stuff like that to like them being half naked in
fucking Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Honestly, that's what it is. It was Joss Whedon.
But it's like, so you just like was fuck consistency. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like DC fucks up in like the simplest ways. Like, they like screw consistency because like certain things are just not consistent from movie to movie. Like you said, you had the first Wonder Woman, which was great.
Right.
Then you had Wonder Woman 84 that was like, the villain is a rock? Like, what is going on? Like, I literally watched the whole movie. I'm like, so who's going to become like a real villain? And I'm like, so the villain is the Rock. Like, everybody keeps wishing on this rock and causing problems. Like, the villain is the Rock. Like, seriously? And then you get to like all these different other like movies. It's like, y'all don't keep the consistency on anything. Y'all don't have a long-term plan. Y'all don't talk to each other. It just, every movie seems like its own movie.
Right.
And that's the problem with DC. Every movie is its own movie and never feels like it's tied to the other one. Hell, the sequels don't even feel like they tie to each other.
True.
Because like the same thing with Wonder Woman. First Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 84 don't even feel like they're the same series.
It's really not.
And what I'm mad about DC is that they have picked great people to play these roles.
Yeah.
your boy who plays Superman, I love him as
Henry
Superman.
Cavill as Superman. Yeah,
Henry Cavill as Superman. And I was actually good with Ben Affleck as Batman.
Me too.
Didn't mind it.
Did not mind it because he was pretty damn good Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
And I was ready to see him because here's the thing. We didn't get to see him truly play out Batman, which kind of sucks.
And that's kind of like what the opposite of Robert Pattinson. We saw Robert Pattinson do a lot as Batman, but not a lot as Bruce Wayne.
Exactly.
We saw Ben Affleck do a whole lot as Bruce Wayne.
And here's the thing: we didn't get a Batman movie with Bruce Wayne.
And that's what it is.
He was sharing a movie with Superman, and then he was the Justice League.
Right.
But he never got like a Batman movie for us to see him in full Batman glory.
Do you believe you're going to?
Because I kind of like the idea. Because I kind of like the idea that he has a voice changer,
right?
As opposed to Christian Christian Bale. Where is it? Where is the trigger?
We had sex.
I know you wouldn't give it to him. I never said that.
We had sex.
It's like, what are you doing? Christian Bale's Batman. While the movies were pretty good, I'm pretty sure that was an acting choice that he probably regretted going with because he had to hold it for 3 movies.
It's not even that he held it for 3 movies. He got worse each movie. It progressively got worse.
Because your voice would be shot too if you had to actually do that foolishness.
Because even in the first one, when he had to deal with the Scarecrow, he was sitting on the balcony talking to the little kid, and he was just talking like, I am justice. And I want to make sure that I protect you. And it was just like a little raspy and just kind of you can see he was just trying to change his voice. But then he gets into The Dark Knight Returns. And that's all you hear.
And then in Dark Knight Rises, because like you say, it gets worse.
Yeah.
So by the end, the very end of the movie, it is the worst it ever is. So like I said, the final thing with him and Bane, where is the trigger? And me and Neek be weak laughing when he gets stabbed because he keeps the Alfred. He gets stabbed at the end by old girl.
All right, fuck it. Since we talk about Batmans, who's your best favorite Batman?
Michael Keaton.
Facts. Your favorite Batman?
Michael Keaton. As far as movie goes, yeah, Michael Keaton. I will say this: my favorite Batman of all time, even though he's not always in the public eye, Kevin Conroy, who is the voice of Bruce Wayne and Batman animated series, the 90s animated show. He is my best Batman. Michael Keaton is, as far as live action Batman, he's my favorite. Kevin Conroy will always be Batman to me.
Is that the Batman back in the day, WB Batman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
From that animated series.
Yeah.
Probably the best animated show to ever be created.
Yeah, he was cool.
Because that's the same one with old boy as the Joker, right?
Mark Hamill.
Yeah, Mark Hamill.
Also best Joker.
Yeah.
Best Joker, like the best signature Joker laugh.
Yeah.
Like I felt like that Batman, that animated version of Batman, he was like that Batman. He was cold. Like he was like I don't know. He was just like cold blooded. Like I felt like he was like, man, bitch, fuck you, fight you. Whenever he just, I agree with you. Best animated Batman. Yes. Now. I feel like I feel like what they need to do is do a clean swipe.
Oh, DC?
Yes.
See, here's the thing about DC is because they're behind the 8 ball. They're trying to catch up to Marvel. And the thing about it is they had Batman versus Superman, and where Marvel had Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Captain America, Thor, and then you introduce Black Widow and Captain America 2, you introduce Hawkeye and Thor, and then you bring them all together for the Avengers.
Yep.
Each person had their spotlight. Hawkeye a little bit less than the others. But then in the
I mean, do you really need that much spotlight on him?
Listen, don't shit on Hawkeye.
I'm not gonna shit on Hawkeye, but I'm just saying.
But I mean, even in the first Avengers, he really didn't have much.
No, he didn't. He didn't. He didn't. And I'm glad he got his series, but
See with a fucking bow and arrow.
Exactly. There are robots outside. The city is flying, and I'm here in a bow and arrow. But I'm gonna go outside because I'm an Avenger. The man knew what it was about.
Yeah, bro.
He knew. Him and Wanda were well aware that they were like ill-equipped to be with them, but they were still very helpful.
Right.
Because like the two of them in the first Avengers.
Not Wanda.
I mean, not Wanda.
Like what up?
What's her name though?
Scarlett Johansson, Natasha Romanoff.
Natasha Romanoff. Yeah.
Because the two of them in the first Avengers, and she was like, "Doesn't this remind you of Budapest?" He's like, "Me and you remember Budapest very differently." Like, but like, you know, or like when Tony's like, "Hey, I'm bringing the party to you," she's like, "I don't see how that's a party," because like the two of them know they are the most normal.
Right.
They have no superpowers. Nope. They're just very good at what they do.
They're very skilled.
They're very skilled, but they are very human.
Right.
And so they know they're ill-equipped, but they help anyway, you know? So I'm not going to shit on them. They were still very much amazing. But yeah, that's why they didn't really get much backstory. Mm-hmm. Because they were essentially just like SHIELD agents, you know?
Now, did you see the trailer of the Black Adam?
Yeah.
What do you think about Black Adam?
So Black Adam is another thing as you're introducing all these characters where people don't necessarily have a connection to it, because you got Hawkman, you got Atom Smasher, you got Dr. Fate, you know, all of these other characters in addition to Black Adam. So it is essentially an ensemble movie where you're introducing characters that you don't know a lot about unless you're familiar with the comics or you're familiar with the other DC properties. I'm not saying, because I always want to give a movie the benefit of the doubt before I go in and watch it. So I'm not going to say that, oh, it's going to be horrible just because it's a DC property. But they do have, they do have a lot of ground to cover. But I know that The Rock, this has been a passion project for The Rock for a long time.
Right.
So the last time someone had a passion project that they worked for a long time and they wanted to get it and they wanted to get it made was Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool. Mm-hmm. And we saw what Ryan Reynolds was able to do with Deadpool. And so, like I said, I give it the benefit of the doubt. I feel like it may be a good movie. The special effects just from the trailer looks pretty good. So, I mean, I don't know a lot about the story of Black Adam outside of, I know he's sort of a villain counterpart to Shazam for the most part.
Right.
So eventually they're going to bring Black Adam and Shazam together. Shazam has another movie coming out, Fury of the Gods, which also kind of looks pretty good. Shazam is probably out of all the DC movies, I would say Shazam is probably my favorite.
Shazam was good.
I think because Shazam was kind of a movie that wasn't trying to take itself too seriously, because it really tapped into the idea of what if a child became a superhero. Even though you have Zachary Levi, who is a full adult man, apparently it can tap into his inner child because he acted like a teenager very well. But it just gave a lightheartedness in the movie, and DC normally has these brooding, very serious.
DC, Marvel has always been the brighter, just because even like color wise, you know, just theme wise, if you look at the comics and like costumes, that's where costumes and just the feel. Right. Marvel has always felt like the more comedic, lighter version of stuff, because all the heroes wear brighter colors and da-da-da. Whereas DC has always been the darker side of things, I feel. So yeah, like you say, Shazam to be the more lighthearted, tap into the comedic aspect, you know, kind of helped it a little bit, because it does make sense to be kind of funny. Like you said, what if a teenager became a superhero that was a full-fledged adult man? Right. So of course he would do stupid stuff like, oh, we can buy liquor now, you know? You know?
And then get sick immediately.
And it was kind of the same thing like when the siblings became, you know, the rest of them, you know, especially like the little girl played by Megan Good. And she's like, oh, look. You know?
Yeah, I'm just excited about it.
Because she's freaking like, what, 7, 8?
Yeah,
you know, so of course she's going to be like, oh, look at this. You know, even though she looks like an adult, she's still going to be like a kid, you know? But yeah, like you say, all the DC stuff is like pretty dark normally.
Right. Dark and gritty and all this other kind of stuff. But
it just sucks that it keeps getting pushed back. Right. Which worries me.
Yeah. But I mean, everything in DC right now is getting pushed back.
Yeah, Aquaman.
Well, and that's the thing. So Shazam was supposed to be towards the end of this year. Now it's going to be in March. And so now it's bumping Aquaman to later in the year. Bumped
anyway, because they got to do reshoots because they're taking Amber Heard out.
Yeah.
Oh, so they taking her out?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Flash is still set to come out, though. There's no talks about replacing Ezra Miller. No talks about scrapping that whole movie.
Can they find Ezra Miller?
You know what? That's a whole. That's like a whole.
He's missing.
He's missing, and he's like beating up kids in Hawaii. It's crazy.
He's wanted in Vermont or something too.
Yeah, he's like wanted in the weirdest of places.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
He's tripping.
Dude is lost his goddamn mind. But I got to bounce because I got groceries getting delivered to my apartment.
Oh, you tramp!
I didn't know we were gonna be going this long.
Never plan a podcast with us to go short.
Okay. Well, you didn't mention that when you asked me to guest on the podcast.
Usually, people who come on, they don't have shit mapped out.
Well, I'm sorry that I have a life.
Usually, so you're trying to say this is not a life? That's what you're saying?
Listen, man, I just need my groceries. That's all.
Well, you guys, this is the end of the podcast because somebody got to get their fucking groceries.
I'll be back on another one. Invite me back to another one.
Yeah, no, we're definitely going to bring you back.
I can talk about this shit all day.
Well, make sure you order your groceries before you fucking come.
Okay, I'll be back.
Make sure you do that. Well, you guys, this has been a lovely evening. Spider, would you like to
plug everything?
Plug everything?
Yeah. Again, 2 podcasts. You can find the Spider Bytes podcast, and that's Bytes, BYTES. You can find us on all of your major podcast streaming platforms. You can tweet at us at Spider Bytes Cast, or you can watch All Things Super. All Things Super is available on YouTube. Just search for All Things Super. You can find us also on your podcast streaming platforms, or you can tweet at us at ATSuperPod.
You looking them up now?
You can look them up. I already got them.
Oh. You just got on your phone like, find this shit now.
Make sure my groceries ain't on the way. But no, man, I'm glad that you came, bro. It was a pleasure. I appreciate you having me. It was a lot of fun. Like I say, next time, definitely it's going to be even more of a blessing.
Get all the introductions out of the way so everybody knows who I am now.
That's right.
Yeah, but now we can just jump into it next time. Yeah.
Just jump in this thing. You guys, once more, thank you for tuning into another episode. But yeah, make sure you do subscribe, listen. You can follow us on Instagram at all_but_yeah. That's AWW_BUT_YEAH. That's Instagram and Twitter. Creole, anything else?
And you follow us on our personal stuff too.
Yeah, follow us on our personal
Creole
stuff.
Vixen, Retro Ralph.
Find us. Holler at us. Connect. Until next time, you guys, thank you for tuning into another episode of But Yeah, this is Retro.
And this is your girl, Creole.
And that was Spider getting his groceries.
Yep.
Motherfucker.
Oh, yeah. It's your girl, Creole. Let's go. It's your girl, Creole. It's your boy, Retro. It's your boy, Retro. It's your boy, Retro. Retro. It's your boy, Retro. Let's go. It's Creole. Let's go. It's Creole. Let's go. Your girl Creole. Let's go. Your girl Creole. Oh yeah. It's your girl Creole. Let's go. It's your girl Creole. It's your boy Retro. It's your boy Retro. But yeah.